Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Common Ground on the Hill Traditions Week concert. I've been looking forward to this concert for a number of reasons. Actually, the reasons being everybody who's going to be playing tonight, and especially because we have the winner of the 2022 Acoustic Roots Songwriting Contest with us tonight. We have an annual songwriting contest, which for this year is still in place. It's still, you still have some time to submit a song. But we had I think well over, I think I'm correct in this, 70 songs submitted. And we have the winner tonight. They're coming all the way from Oregon. And this song, I was very moved by this song. Because of things that we do here at Common Ground on the Hill. But I would like to introduce Kristen Grainger and Dan Wetzel of True North from all the way out in Oregon.
Hi there, nice to be here.
Yeah, good evening.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Well, sure. Dan and I are husband and wife. We've been making music together for about 22, 23 years, writing songs and producing albums. And we're part of a quartet called Kristen Grainger and True North. And we also perform as a duo, just the two of us, which we'll do tonight.
Yeah. And what's the scene out there? Are you part of the bluegrass scene, part of the folk scene, or part of the whole scene?
You know, we don't really fit really well into any particular category, but we fit pretty well into many categories. So we play bluegrass festivals, we play folk festivals, we play a lot of theaters and venues. We really like to play where people want to listen and
right,
because Kristen's songs are so powerful, and that's what she's become known for, is this beautiful lyricist and singer. And so people really come, and we have these great audiences that just really want to take it all in.
Well, that's wonderful. I hope we get to see you on the East Coast. And
we'd like that.
We'd love to come. I was born in Boston, if that helps, but we moved west when I was too little. I was too young to get any kind of a decent accent.
Yeah, because you would have said Baston.
I would have said Baston, yes.
Wow. Well, wonderful to have you here, and we'd love to tell us a little bit about your song.
So I don't know if you remember when the news first broke about the kids who were being separated from their parents at the US-Mexico border, but I think it was June of 2018 when it first broke. And one of my good friends was one of the attorneys who was inspecting the facility that brought that news public, made that news public. And without that, we never would have learned the kind of horrific things that were happening to families there. And when I learned about it, I talked with her about it, and I learned that you could find online the testimonials of the kids that they interviewed when they were doing the inspection of that facility, and their stories. And their stories were pretty horrible, what they endured just to get to the border, only to be separated from their parents and put in these pretty deplorable conditions. 6 or 7 kids died just that first year in conditions that really no one should have to endure, let alone somebody who's seeking amnesty, basically, freedom. And so I couldn't sleep. I mean, anybody who's been a kid, anybody who has a kid, if you know a kid, this is the kind of thing that children should not be subjected to. And I'm not an attorney. I'm not a politician. I just wanted to do what I could do. So I wrote a song about it, and I wrote it based on the stories that I read online, the testimonies of those children. And it's an amalgam of those stories. Basically, the children in those situations had no idea why they were being detained or what was going to happen to them or where their parents went. There's very little information for them. So I wrote it from the perspective of 2 siblings, a brother and a sister, and their coping skills, the way they survived was thinking about the strength of their grandfather and how their grandfather took care of them and encouraged them. And then that's where they drew their strength to be able to survive in that setting. And it's called The Ghost of Abuelito because their grandfather passed away before they made the trip to the border, but they called on his spirit. And abuelito is Spanish for grandpa. The Spanish word for grandfather is abuelo, and both of those Spanish words appear in the song.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to hear it.
Should we dive in?
Yeah, dive in. Let's hear it.
Okay. Miguel, my brother, he's 11. I am Alma, I am 7. Old enough to remember home. Sounds of gunfire in the night, an ordinary part of life, at least the only life I've ever known. Miguel refused to cry the day we headed north from Ecuador to the USA. Even when we gave our dog away, even after throwing stones to make her stay. He says the ghost of Abuelito comes to him when he's afraid. His spirit comes down from the stars, still smells of coffee and cigars. But when he is there, Miguel is brave. Abuelito wanted it that way. Across the border, things got tense, with our backs against the fence, all those uniforms and guns. Americanos took our mother in one direction and us the other, and we haven't seen our mother since. Inside, 100 babies cry, and I can't stop myself from always asking why. When will my mama come to get me? Does she go off and forget me? And Miguel just takes my hand and sighs. He says the ghost of Abuelito comes to us when we're afraid. His spirit comes down from the stars, still smells of coffee and cigars. But when he is there, we'll both be brave. Abuelito wanted it that way. He says Abuelito told him, America will always take you in. Her gates are guarded by a goddess. She welcomes you no matter where you've been. Minutes to hours, days to weeks, Miguel, my brother, hardly speaks. Bit by bit, he's disappearing. I asked him if he'd say the prayer, the one that brings Abuelito here. He said, Abuelito's hard of hearing. Inside, 100 babies cry. Ones that are old enough to talk keep asking why. When will my mama come to get me? Does she go off and forget me? And I take their tiny hands and lie. I say the ghost of Los Abuelos guard us as we sleep under the moon. Abuelos hate to see us suffer. They're out searching for our mothers, and they'll bring our mothers soon. Abuelos hate to see us suffer. They're out searching for our mothers, and they'll bring our mothers soon.
Oh my. Wow, what a song. What a great song.
Thank you. Thank
We're
you.
gonna have to get you down to Common Ground on the Border. I don't know if you've heard about that part of our work.
I have. I've seen it on your social media too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We've
Well,
been invited to play it at, there's a consortium that meets at the University of Colorado Boulder
mhm.
that is concerned with child well-being and exploitation. And they've invited us, they're flying us down there to come
Great.
sing this for the group down there. So
That's
that'll
wonderful.
be fun. Yeah.
There's so many wonderful people involved in this work. The Common Ground on the Border takes place at the Church of the Good Shepherd in Saurita, which is just north of Nogales.
Yeah.
And we've been working with them, basically learning from them for a number of years now. And this was all through the Ronstadt family to begin with, Santa Cruz River Band. And we bring folks down in January, and there's a wonderful coffee house concert thing that goes on, and visitations across the border, and we go to the federal district court to see what's happening there. And at the center of all this is a wonderful coffee house series. So the importance of the music is right in place, and gosh, you certainly fit the bill. So I'm going to make a call tomorrow, and I'll be back in touch with you.
Thank you. I will say that the thing about music is it takes a very complicated and painful, difficult subject, politically fraught subject, and it really helps people connect with it in a way that they can process and they can feel motivated to do something, because otherwise we just feel helpless. And it's great to see that you also you're actively doing that, embracing that. Yeah.
It's hard not to once you really see what's going on. You know?
Yeah, that's right.
And you meet these wonderful people, these Samaritans. You know? It's a way to live your life.
I agree.
So just wonderful. I hope you'll continue to stay in touch with us, and we'll get you out here. We have concert series here, a couple of them, and maybe we can connect you with some other folks. But thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you. Appreciate being here, and really have great appreciation for the work you're doing. Thank you for doing that.
Well, I hope you'll tune in for the rest of the week, check things out. And I don't think we're not broadcasting anything next week. We're in person.
Yes.
We have 3-time Grammy Award winning songwriter Tom Chapin, Harry Chapin's brother. He's our headliner.
I saw that. That is very exciting. How fun. How wonderful.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, you all take care. It's wonderful to see you and hear you, and be well, and keep writing those songs.
Thank you. Will do.
Thanks much.
Take care. Wonderful. Well, it's something like that makes our work worthwhile. Sometimes we labor away and we're not quite sure what the payoff is for us as administrators, but it's when something like this appears and is so on target. Wonderful. Our next performer lives in Maryland. He's lived in Maryland for a number of years now, but he comes to us originally from the Czech Republic, where there was a burgeoning folk scene where Pete Seeger used to appear and sing and inspire people. I would encourage you to look up Bob Rychlik on the TED Talks and see his presentation there that basically tells his story of how he escaped and came here and built a new life. And in coming here, somehow he managed to look back into his own musical heritage and discover and reignite this interest in the fuyara, the flute. And Bob has done miracles. He's brought all kinds of folks to common ground to study this instrument. They even come from across the ocean to do this. And we're just really lucky to have him. So make welcome from, I believe, Mount Airy. Am I right in that? Yes. Bob Rychlik.
Hello. All right. Happy to be here and happy to see you all.
Good to see you. And we'll be seeing you next week. You're going to be around, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's the best vacation of my life. I no longer have vacations, but still it is the best week of my life. I just love it there.
Well, we can't wait to see you again. And everyone else who's watching tonight, come on, you all, we got lots of room.
Yeah.
So what do you have for us tonight?
Well, I unfortunately cannot play live because my computer is in last hour. You know, I don't know. Maybe I should kill him so it wouldn't be suffering. You know, it's like, and he just refused. It's like everything was freezing on it. Last year it worked okay. You know, it's like with us. sometimes happens. So, but this year it didn't work. So I had to switch very fast to iPad. And on iPad, even when I have the original sound turned on, about half of spectrum is like just cut off, or like makes strange noises. And because Fuera has like a lot of overtones, that's a problem on it.
Well, so tell us
yeah.
briefly a little bit about the flute and where it lives in culture.
Yeah, okay. I am actually born in Czechoslovakia, the country which doesn't exist anymore because they split peacefully. And I always tell people the reason is that because nobody could spell it. So but it was Slovaks just wanted to have their own state, and Czech said, okay, go ahead. But so I had relatives and friends in both parts, Czech Republic, and of course I was living in Moravia. This is like the middle part where we also speak Czech, and then in Slovakia. So I have family as far east as like Košice, and which is very close to border with Ukraine, and I have friends on the west part of like Czech Republic, very close to Germany, and then friends all over the place. So I had my friend before we escaped. We exchanged guitar tablatures of American music, where we were able to figure out all this fingering, like Mississippi John Hurt and all this kind of stuff. And then when I was on my first visit, when I was already citizen, and they couldn't really do anything to me, even when it was still communists were there. So I visited my friend in Slovakia, and he took me to other friend, and at this time I really decided that the Fuera would be something what would bring me the crystal clear original folk music, not the one which was formed with the communists like for the propagation, for the like always very picking up songs which show the hard work of people. And now with Communist Party, you have much better life. It was like politicized, but this instrument was not. It had the original songs, and like the shepherds on the mountains were still playing it. So this he took me to a friend, and I brought for a friend a pile of CDs of like Fuera and like banjo. He was one of the first banjo players, 5-string banjo in Slovakia. And so he said, hey, I heard 3 Fueras. One is yours as a gift. So I said, okay, fantastic. So play me those Fueras. And when he played the one, I knew that was the one. It has the voice. Mm-hmm. So that was my first instrument. It wasn't tuned super, but it was fantastic. I was traveling with it, like playing as far as St. Petersburg on this Fuera. There was a city dance group in Washington D.C. and I started to play Fuera with them in the dances. It was like extra instrument, and there was the one dance when they first made up the dance completely, and they wanted me to make music to it. So that's what I did, and that's when there for the competition or like I don't know festival of these groups. They had to take me also. So I had trip to Russia, which even when I swear I would never visit that country, but as American, it was different.
Right.
That's how I started.
So what do you have for us tonight?
Yeah, because I couldn't really play well, even for my students. When I play something, they say, well, we just heard first part which was low, and then when you went high, we didn't hear anything. So I figured out it's probably going to be the same. So I sent some videos. Actually, one is very short. I'm playing with my friend, classical guitarist Sarah Horsfall, and she's also living in Mount Airy. So the first one is called Sleepwalk, and I guess most people would recognize the melody. This is like one of the first songs I played when I got a Fuyara and figured out how to play it on it. So I can do the slider on this one tone. So like that's what. And the second one, I don't know if you will be probably playing the one which is recent, Plaisir d'amour, and I just love it because it's beautiful melody. She plays accompaniment, classical guitar, and it's also very specific for me because I play it on G Fuyara in D major and F minor, which is if you would be Fuyara player, you would know it's like impossible. But because I have the extra hole for the C sharp, which I added to Fuyara, and also it is difficult, more difficult, but once you master it, it's easy. That's how it works with everything, as I found out.
Well, let's hear this magical instrument. What do we say?
Okay. So do you want to play it? No. Okay.
All right, Sleepwalk.
Okay.
Here we go. right. Wonderful.
Thank you.
It's wonderful. We look forward to having you here this week, this coming week. And you all should come out and see the flute in person. It's hard to capture the essence of the flute in just in a video. It's the instrument fills whatever room it's in, and I assume that it fills whatever valley or mountain that it's in too. It was played by shepherds, right? Yeah.
And it's very calming,
Yeah.
calming effect, so it is really helping your psyche, because you need some moments of calm. And me, I'm like a little bit fast speaking, and like the Fuera was exactly what I needed.
There you go. Yeah. Well, music plays that role for all of us, I think. Thank you, Bob. And we look forward to seeing you very soon. And,
Okay, thank you. See you soon.
Thank you. Yeah, Bob Rychlik. Be sure to look up his TED Talk. It's really an inspiring thing to watch, to find out about his journey. Our next performer was at the very first Common Ground on the Hill Traditions Weeks in 1995. Brian Connolly is a band leader, a great tenor banjo player from Belfast in Ireland, and has led his band Creve Ruhr for all those years. I first met him when I was on tour over there, and just a great band. It's always had great personnel and a good long run with every one of the personnel. So we're going to be hearing the Flags of Dublin and the Boys of Portaferry. Those are reels. Then we'll hear the Excelsior and the Harlequin, which are hornpipes. And then the third selection is the Gallowglass, Langstrom's Pony, and those are double jigs. Brian is accompanied by James Carson, and he's also on banjo. So here comes some banjo madness to you from all the way across the pond in Dublin, not Dublin, excuse me, Belfast, Northern Ireland.
One, two, three.
Fantastic. Amazing. Those guys are joined at the hip, I believe. There's some great banjo music all the way from Belfast. I want to really thank Brian Connolly and James Carson. Brian was the one with the hat. Just remember that. You'll see him around. Hopefully we'll get Brian back here soon. He was here right before the pandemic hit. He's still making great music over there. He makes the trip across the Irish Sea from Belfast over to the Prestwick area to visit Tom Smith and Moira Murray and get together with other musical folks over there. Ireland and Scotland actually are quite close together, and it's a wonderful ferry boat ride from the Prestwick area over to Belfast. Takes about, as I remember, about an hour and a half. Anyway, thanks so much to everyone who's played music tonight. And we want to let you know that tomorrow evening, we will have Christopher James and Rod McDonald, folk and blues. And Friday, we'll have Tom Minty and Wayne Fugate, two excellent mandolinists. So be sure to tune in again tomorrow night at 8 and Friday as well. And of course, don't miss the art gallery talks at 6:30 every evening. We look forward to seeing as many of you folks as possible come to Traditions Week 2 in person here on the campus of McDaniel College, and to our festival. And we actually have two festivals in one, the Deer Creek Fiddlers Convention, and also the Common Ground on the Hill Roots Music and Arts Festival, both taking place on July 8th on our campus. Air conditioned, rain or shine, we're going to be having a great festival, complete with a wine and beer garden and some pub singing. So you all come out. Thanks to everyone for working on this evening, especially Maria Wong and Phil Spees. And we'll see you tomorrow.